Welcome to the Quick Stop F1 podcast. My name is Nyasha and you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. We appreciate that. Joining me today, as ever, on the Saturday show, it is co-host of the Saturday show, Quick Stop F1's Nepo baby. A lot of people don't know that. Why you're the Nepo baby? I'm I don't want to just keep it mysterious.
Keep the lore, mysterious.
Yeah, keep the lore. If you know, you know. If you don't, I'm sorry. But joining me as ever, it's the ever fabulous Tasha James. Welcome to the show.
Yay.
It's your show.
So happy to be here.
It's so lovely to see you. It's been a while.
I know.
It's
a week.
A week? Yeah. It's been a week.
Yeah, a week. Yeah.
just 7 days. I've been clocking in and working overtime. I've been coming in when no one's in the office. So it's nice to have someone else in the office.
Shooting free throws with the gym lights off. You've been out here putting in work.
I've been enjoying sending my baby to school.
Right.
College tuition to pay.
Right. Trying to get about the hood.
I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna get myself out the hood, man. I can't live like this anymore. I got fucking police helicopters outside my window, crackers by the corner. I can't live like this anymore.
It's a hard
Oh my god. How are you there? Are you all good?
I'm good. I'm in an Olympic-sized stupor currently. I've just been enjoying all the festivities and chilling basically.
Do you know what? I have this thing where it's really bad, but when I'm in a certain mood, which I currently am in, of I want to create, I want to do things, I want to get to this place, I want to do that. Mm-hmm. I find it difficult to watch people who are really good at something. Because I get insanely jealous.
What?
And I have this feeling of God, see, this person's putting, how much work has this person put in to get to where
right.
How much work are you putting in right now? And I'm sitting on the sofa you're just a consumer. So I'm I'll watch the Olympics. I just feel man, these guys are superhuman. And the most random things as well. I was how do you even know that you're going to be good at that? But
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, there's a couple events where I'm how did you choose that? I don't even. It's canoe slalom or something. You just drop them into the lake, the river, and then they're just going through an obstacle. How did you?
Yeah, have at it. How did you know? I saw a tweet where someone was Great Britain is great at the private school sports, all the posh sports rowing, the horse shit,
equestrian,
yeah. Anything that requires you to pay 30 grand a year to attend the school, we're fucking amazing at that shit. You can't beat us at that shit. But I can understand. Any highlights for you from the Olympics so far?
I think USA women, Simone Biles in gymnastics, this is probably definitely her last Olympic appearance. So the fact that Tokyo, we saw the whole thing with the twisties where she, it was a mental block, but it also meant that if she had tried to push past it, she could have really hurt herself. So she kind of left, the Olympics without being able to compete in certain events. So to see her come back full force, just killing it by a margin that's not even close is actually insanely inspiring. U.S. women's national team, the soccer team has been amazing, or the football team, excuse me, has been really great. Right. Men's not so much, but that was to be expected. So the World Cup for us, last World Cup was pretty rough. So to see the kind of turnaround, the new coach who's only been with them for 8 games or some shit like that. It's a cool story. But other than that, just everything, I'm rooting for everybody. So.
Yeah,
I honestly am. I'm having a good time.
Yeah, you are having a great time. I could definitely see that. And I feel France, after we spoke about the opening ceremony and how that was, but I feel it's really lived up to quite a lot. There's been quite a lot of emotion and quite a lot of stories that have developed, and the greats that we want to do well are seemingly doing well, but there's also new stars popping up out of nowhere.
Right.
It feels like it's been a good Olympics. so far.
Excited.
Very excited, actually. I'll come back to that later. Let's talk some F1. And before we do, thank you to all the new subscribers we have on the channel. On the road to 5,000, we are so close.
Very
no, we're
close.
Not. Are we close? Yeah, we are close. So. I can't remember how many subscribers are on each thing. So we just hit super happy to have, oh my God, we are close. Super happy to have hit 4,000 on Instagram. Thank you for that. We're so close to 3,000 on TikTok. And we're only 233 subscribers away from 5,000 on YouTube. So if you are watching, please subscribe, give us a like, and if you're listening on Spotify, make sure to give us a 5-star rating. If you're listening on Apple, make sure to give us a rating, review, and of course there's the Patreon there for ad-free streaming, and it helps to support the product and what we do here at Quick Stop F1 as an independent platform. So thank you to all the Patreonies. We appreciate you. Tasha, there have been some developments. So obviously, something that I haven't spoken about this week and that has kind of transpired is the rule changes, or I guess the sporting and technical regulations that were updated earlier this week. I think it was July 31st. There was a couple of things that were done, kind of brought through mule car testing, tire testing. There's stuff about penalties and stopping on track during qualifying, etc., etc. I think the one that has really seemed to, gain speed and has started a few conspiracy theories, especially relating to how Red Bull seemed to have fared recently, is the brake circuits and pressure distribution. I'm going to read you something, and then we can have a quick discussion. So I am not reading this with any knowledge. I think I'm on record as saying as much as I do like the technical side of F1, I definitely watch it more for the sporting side of F1. I find the technical side of F1, for want of a better word, quite boring. Respectfully, I love the I feel, I don't want to be like, hey, you tech guys are fucking nerds. But oh my God. But it's just not something that interests me. But I think when we get the technical side mixed with the sporting aspect of it, and you can link those two, I think that's quite interesting. So I am reading directly from Molly Marissa's Twitter page, who did an incredible thread on this, and I will link it in the description so you guys can read it as well if you've missed it. But and forgive me, I'm about to read a lot, but she says, and she's broken down all the technical regulations. Article 11.1, which is brake circuits and pressure distribution. Any system or mechanism which can produce systematically or intentionally asymmetric braking torques for a given axle is forbidden. So essentially, being able to create a system where your brake bias can be asymmetric for a given axle is now not allowed. She says that this would suggest that a team, I'm literally reading directly, a team has found a way outside of the typical front-rear brake bias shifts, most notably called Brake Magic by Mercedes, which you may remember from Azerbaijan 2021. Oh my God. Oh, where is that fucking sound? Hold on. Oh my God, do I not have it on this account? Oh my God, you're lucky. I'm going to put that on there. Time slipping away from me. Yeah. So a team's been doing something cheeky with their brake maps or braking controls that allows for improved braking, not only front to back, but left to front, left rear, right rear, etc., which would be huge in corner performance. If you can imagine, if you can tweak your brake bias and, to have it in a way which favors one side over the other when you're going into corners, the speed that you're able to take into those corners is crazy. This is cheeky as typically regulation. This explicitly isn't rolled out mid-season into regulations unless The FIA observed, or it was reported by other teams that a team or all teams were doing this, as it is a grey area and consider it not in the spirit of regulations. For example, DAS, again, Mercedes, if you don't remember DAS, it was the mechanism which allowed them to almost invert their front tyres by pushing up or pulling down on the front, on the steering wheel, which then connected to the wheels and almost inverted them slightly, which essentially allowed them to get quicker tyre warm-up. And that was banned. And I think that was in 2020. Or this was a complete miss on their end and they're closing a regulatory loophole. Please comply. No, I'd almost anticipate there being a TD on this issue, but we don't see those. It could also be such a grey area, they went straight to adding it to the regulations as they do not do. Now, a lot of people are now saying that this is linked to Red Bull. Red Bull obviously were looking at McLaren and their use of braking, brake sensors, brake sensor cooling. So essentially, in practice, you're allowed to run sensors on your car. So you're allowed to have almost like these holes within your brakes to allow you to put sensors in. And Red Bull were accusing McLaren of essentially, you're supposed to cover them up when you get to qualify. And McLaren were accused of not doing that, but it was then found that they were using tape. It's now been accused that Red Bull were maybe sensing that maybe having done that and accused McLaren, they've then started to look at everyone's braking. And as a result, they've banned this, which has led to Red Bull now kind of lacking the pace that they have. Tasha, having said all of that to you, I guess, do you have any thoughts on that? I feel woefully ill-equipped to have this conversation.
Me too. I'm like, what? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to think besides the fact that obviously, like you mentioned, the fact that it's happening kind of mid-season, I guess does sort of indicate that this, to me, it sounds like somebody has been doing it, a team has been doing it, or teams. I do think it's interesting that Red Bull and McLaren both have been kind of like slinging the accusation back and forth at each other. So I would imagine that it's them that are kind of the culprits. But yeah, I don't know what to think. I think for me, it's going to be interesting coming out of the summer break to see the performance, because I wouldn't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, what am I don't know. I'm just like you. I find the technical stuff interesting, but I have no mind for
it is, Tasha.
Yeah.
And like, I'm sorry, like to those who are like super technical, what we need to do is get Bryson back on here. Let's get Bryson back on here. Let's get him to explain it, because a lot of
let's get the bat signal in the sky.
Like, please, someone technical.
Help us.
Like, and I think it's absolutely fine to sometimes say, you know what? I don't know what I'm talking about.
I don't know.
There's not enough of that in F1.
Listen.
I don't know. Okay.
Let me find someone who does. That's literally
Let me find someone
who can help you. Yeah.
Because I don't have those answers, guys.
Yeah.
So we will. You know what?
Stick a pin in that.
You know what, actually, because I'm not around next weekend. So next weekend,
all right, should I get Bryson?
Next Saturday, we'll try and get someone to explain it. But I guess what we are seeing, Tasha, within Red Bull, with Red Bull, let's talk about what's going on with Red Bull, because I don't think I've seen a slew of news stories that are so negative about Red Bull again and again and again and again. We've had the story of Jonathan Wheatley leaving. I think there's some quotes from Christian Horner says that his salary was too expensive. I can now hire some more engineers. So it wasn't clearly not an amicable split. And to this day, I don't think that Audi have announced my guy as being there. So Red Bull have definitely jumped the gun there.
Right.
Pierre Wash, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing his name incorrectly, essentially the number 2 to Adrian Newey, has come out and said that they've basically hit the end of their, the capabilities of their car. They're not getting the correct correlation from the wind tunnel. Honda are coming out and saying that these engines are on the limit. Like, it's likely that they may have to take more engine penalties. They've kept Sergio Perez. That in itself is ridiculous. So I guess, Tasha, what is going on over there at Red Bull?
Yeah, what's not going on over there at Red Bull? It's just, personally, it was just like one of those things, kind of wait and see. Everybody was saying how well, tight knit this team was, how much of a well-oiled machine they are. And I think when you're winning, that's easy to say, right? But when you're in this like patch, it's not just, performance wise, but also in the back end and the behind the scenes, you have stuff happening with Christian, Yas, Max, then all of the, technical side, the engineers. So yeah, it's just been so funny to see them say one thing, but we have eyes and can observe with our own two eyes the actual dumpster fire that's happening. So yeah, no matter what people, in my opinion, are saying, like, oh, people are just moving on to better opportunities. I just feel like there's a catalyst for that. So, and some of the energy is getting returned back to the team.
Yeah. There's only so much that you can that you can be an outfit. And look, for a long time, people don't remember when Red Bull came into the sport, they were these plucky underdogs. They're the drinks team taking it to these established car manufacturers. Like it wasn't, they've got the youngest ever. Like Christian Horner was 31 when he started, when he was Red Bull team principal. So they had this young team principal who was so good with the press. They had these insane parties. And then they had the youngest F1 champion of all time. And, they had Adrian Newey creating these cars and they dominated. And then somewhere along the way, it just became, I think, they went from being the plucky underdogs to being almost this I want to say it became nasty in 2021, I would say, for me. I think the change in 2021, the toxicity, and look, there was toxicity from both sides with Red Bull and Mercedes, right? And I think we can't, as Mercedes fans, not say that we didn't contribute towards toxicity. We were all there. Okay, I can look at my own Twitter page and be I look at some of those tweets and I'm like, oh my god, you're in the trenches. But I think we're fans. Yeah. We're fans. I think the team itself, you look at Christian Horner's reaction to Silverstone 21, where he essentially kind of stoked the fires and accused Lewis of
attempted murder.
Attempted murder. Sticking a wheel in, almost saying it was negligence from Lewis to do that. And then, we saw the reaction to that. The constant poking at Toto, and then obviously Toto poking back, and then obviously, and then that kind of galvanized their fan base, and then the racism that's happened within the company, and we say some of their fans sometimes, I would say, verge on that. I'm not saying all Red Bull fans are, but if there's some racism going on the timeline, it's either them or Alonso fans. Take a pick. So yeah, I do think the energy that they've kind of given out, and then obviously now this season, the scandals with Christian, the infighting, just Verstappen coming out in the press saying Christian's got to go. Them trying to fire Helmut Marko, realizing they can't because Max Verstappen would walk as well. It feels like it's almost they're starting to eat themselves now. Yeah, whereas before it was like that energy was centered at Mercedes. They just had to beat Mercedes. They did anything that they could to beat Mercedes. They've done that now and they're at the top, and now it just feels like they're eating themselves a little bit. And, Adrian Newey has left because of the turmoil that's going on at Red Bull. Jonathan Wheatley has left because of the turmoil that's going on at Red Bull. Max Verstappen does not want to be at that team. I think that's clear as day. He wants to leave because of the turmoil there. So I guess, like you say, is that energy kind of coming back? And, I think we can see a real situation here where potentially next year, if things go the way that they're going at the moment, that car, if they can't develop that car any further and everyone's kind of catching up, there's a situation where they could be, again, next season, the third, fourth fastest car. And I think we'll potentially see then just how strong is that team. 9 teams, one family. Right. Well, looking more like Family Matters by Kendrick.
Listen.
Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah, Christian said at some point, I think I tweeted it, that the Red Bull has never been stronger, like, as a team. And I just found that interesting. You know, obviously, to me, whenever he says anything, I just think he's lying and full of shit. So yeah, so it's like, it's so interesting to see what has happened even since he said that. I think that was like back in February.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like the team looks like it's in disarray. It's behaving like it's in disarray. Like, you can't. I'm sorry. It to me, it just looks like naturally what happens when there's a power struggle. I would imagine a lot of people probably thought Christian would have been ousted as team principal. And when he wasn't, then it became apparent that, you know, you weren't going to be able to remove him or usurp him or whatever. So that's what I think is happening. I think there is like a power struggle. I think a lot of people at Red Bull or in that team have ideas of how to run the team. And I think when you smell blood in the water, like, you know, I think Christian currently is their weak link because he's the one that's wounded, you know, with this scandal surrounding him. So yeah, I think what happens in those instances, you have a wounded animal in your pack, you try to get rid of him. So I think that that's really what it is. But because he's got some higher power on his side, he's stuck around. And I think that's why everybody's kind of dispersing. So, and not that I ever would trust Yas with anything, but I do think it was really interesting when he came out and he was the one that was like, this team is going to fall apart if we don't get rid of him. So, and everybody said at that point, like, you know, Yas, shut up, like, da-da-da, what do you know? But I'm like, unfortunately, I do think a broken clock can be right.
Look, broken clock can be right twice a day.
Yeah.
And for those that don't know, that's relating to an analog clock. Because a digital clock can only be right once a day. So you might not. I've seen videos of people struggling to read analog clocks, and I'm like, oh, baby.
Yeah.
Like, although to be fair, was I struggling with? I struggled with the time at one point. There was one time where I was working on something, I read an analog clock, carried on working, looked at the clock again and realized that I'd thought it was like an hour forward. And I was like, oh, I've just gained a whole hour. But because I read an analog clock wrong. So, you know, I should
open the schools.
Get the schools back. Get rid of the microphones, open the schools.
Open the books.
Close the laptop, open the books. No, we'll see what happens with Red Bull. Look, one thing about Red Bull, you can't count them out. They are a fighting team. They've got a lot of talented people there. Christian Horner, he's essentially probably creating his Red Bull 2.0. They're going to have their own engines. They're going to have a younger, maybe senior hierarchy. People that have been waiting, probably chomping at the bit to get the opportunities that they have. Look, when you've got like a chief designer that's been there since 2006, no kind of movement in between, you know, when you've got like I think, you know, Wheatley's been there, I think, since 2006 as well, and maybe like a bit later, because I think he was there for Fernando Alonso in Benetton. So, but Wheatley's been there for a ridiculous amount of time as well. Like, you know, these people leaving and other technical people leaving, you know, is going to create a new team, and hopefully, you know, for them, that team is able to kind of sort itself out. But you know, I think, like you say, it's very easy to look great when you're winning. I can remember clear as day, Toto Wolff giving interviews and seminars on building a winning culture. This is how you build a winning culture. And you know, like for the last
Harvard
3 years,
Business School.
Yeah, like we've been calling for this guy to be fired for 2.5 years. Like,
if only those kids knew.
like, oh my God, this guy. So, and look, and how stupid we were, because look what's happened. Although I think we all know that is all James Allison and not Toto. So I think, I think it's going to be interesting to see. They are going backwards. Make no mistake about it. Like, the era of Red Bull domination is over, Like,
Right.
I think we can comfortably say now we don't go into race weekends expecting Red Bull to be the quickest car. Yes, they may be able to qualify pretty well. I say they. Max may be able to qualify quite high because
Right.
Checo's not on piss. You know what? Actually, whilst I've got you,
Yeah.
obviously this is the first time that you've been on camera since Checo Perez has renewed his contract. Or no, since they said that they were going to keep Checo Perez on.
Yeah.
Thoughts on that?
Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, it's hard to see. Do you know what I mean? Like, I get the rationale of like, there's not really anybody else that they can replace to perform better than him that they can replace him with. I do understand that, but he is not going to be like, this is going to be rough these next last few months of this season. So on that note, like for me, I'm just like, like I really would have preferred anybody else in that seat.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, I do remember saying at some point that I knew they wouldn't give Daniel Ricciardo that seat. Like they brought him in for the good PR to, be the personality on the team and, among Red Bull. And that was it. Like they weren't really ever going to give him that seat. So, and he hasn't performed well enough to even earn it. So there's that, it's kind of a double-edged sword in that case. But yeah, Checo is that's going to be rough. If he can't, like, I would hope that by them saying like, we want to keep him, we, want him to stay, maybe it will give him some like second win, but it's just, I don't know. I feel like the jig is up and we just have to be the ones to witness the suffering for the next half of the season.
Yeah, it's suffering, isn't it?
It really is. It really is.
Yeah, as Tandy would say, take him out back.
Right.
Just put him out of his misery. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, get him out. I
always just say leave the car turned off, save an engine. You know what I mean? Like, don't even run the second car at this point. Like,
yeah,
just leave it there.
You know when like, animals are in packs and they've run out of food and then like they just kind of like leave the weakest one.
Right.
Just let him die. Like figuratively. Like, do you know what I mean? Metaphorically, obviously not. Because some people in the F1 space be like, quick stop F1 today.
I understand metaphor. Right.
Like, no, I just mean, just let him wither. You know when you've got that house plant that's beyond saving.
Yeah.
There's no amount of water. Yeah, no amount of water that's going to save it. No amount of sugar water. Don't put the Sprite in there.
Shit's shriveled.
Like it's finished.
It's got like one little leaf left.
You almost regret having it there. Like, people come around and like they see it and they're like, oh, you can't look after shit.
It's like gnats flying in the soil.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Like it's attracting flies.
It's done.
It's done. It's done. Oh man, the thing is, it will be great. That's going to be just like, God, how many more Q1 exits can we see? Like, doing like, how many more?
Should we take bets?
Oh, shall we? I love a hating ass bet. Oh my God. Betting on hate. I wish they could do this in like the casinos.
Right.
Can I just bet on like something heinous to happen to this person 3 times? Right. What are we betting on? Q1 exits.
Q1 exits. At least 2 more.
You're going with 2.
Yeah.
10 races to go. I'm going to go with 3.
3. Okay.
I'm going to go with 3. Okay. How many times do you... Yeah,
I was going to say, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was going to say, on pace, or do we anticipate like just some like crazy like crashes? Like,
there's going to be 1 crash in there.
Okay.
At least
1 crash.
1 crash. 1 crash. I feel like there's going to be like a weather related one. I'm trying to think where might rain, like Singapore. I've always maintained Checo's either going to win in Singapore or he's going to crash out. Like, I know he's looking at that race like, oh my God, please. Like that and Azerbaijan, like back here, he's just like, oh my God, please.
Right.
Like, so yeah, but let me tell you now, like, man, I feel like there's a couple races coming up where like I just think he's not gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
Brazil, like
Ooh.
Qatar, like
What about his home GP?
How I think, you know, I love, the thing is with Mexico, nothing
Right.
crazy ever happens in Mexico.
Yeah.
It is the driest race on the calendar. Like, I honestly, I would put, like, obviously I've got the controversial opinion that we should just get rid of Monaco, like, get it out of here.
Mm.
I hate Monaco. I don't care about the past. I don't care about heritage. Like, it is not fit for purpose. Get it out of it. After that, there's a few races on the calendar where I'm like, this is a dry ass race. Why do we do it? And Mexico, I can't tell you one good Mexican Grand Prix like in the past.
Yeah.
So I say that to say the only way Checo's going to win a race is if something crazy happens, and nothing crazy happens at Mexico. So unfortunately, I can't see him come in.
He DNF'd last year, right?
He did DNF.
So
yeah.
Maybe he'll finish this year.
Maybe he'll finish this year. Hey? Yeah. Small mercies.
Damn, Checo.
Anyway. Anywho. Oh no. Anyway. Tasha, I want to talk to you about something that you care about deeply. I know you care about it deeply. And that is video games. I know
I am. I'm very much into games.
You're into games.
Yes.
So there's been some controversy. Christopher, could you just bring me the EA Sports ratings, please?
Could you fetch me the EA Sports ratings?
Old boy, if you could just fetch me the thingamajig from out back, please, old boy. I was watching Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare last night. And it's just full of Henry Cavill being a debonair young man talking like this, which makes things sound a lot better when you sound like that. Like,
right.
I think there was like a thing where one of the characters said to Henry Cavill, like, "Well, how often do you get your way?" Right, and he's like, "Well, it depends who you're asking, old sport." I was like, "Oh,
old sport,
old sport." Right, T-ho. Here we go. Right, I'm going to get this up now. We have the EA Sports driver ratings. Okay. Who's sending us DMs? Oh, Christopher. Thank you. So the driver ratings have come out for F1 24, and they have caused some drama. And I think we have to remember these are made at a point in the season as well. So we have to remember, like, they're not made based on, like, now at the summer break. They're probably done after, like, 4 or 5 races. However, they have released them. And do you want me to tell you the top 5?
Yes.
Okay. So Max Verstappen is first, understandably, with 95. This is out of 100. Number 2 in the rankings, joined second, are 4 drivers.
Okay.
Have you seen this?
I have it pulled up, but
You haven't pulled up, right?
Yeah.
So number 2 is Carlos Sainz.
Junior.
Not his dad, which I would understand.
Right.
But Carlos Sainz, if it was like a Legends card and it was Carlos Sainz Senior, I'd understand.
Okay.
But it's Junior.
It's Junior. All right.
Also, number 2, Fernando Alonso. One day we're going to have a real conversation about Fernando Alonso, yeah. Like, the other day I referred to Max Verstappen as, like, the myth of Verstappen, and, like, I feel like some things that Max does are, like, built up into this thing where whatever, fine, he's a
Right.
great driver, whatever. What has Fernando? Name me the last good thing Fernando Alonso has done in an F1 car, please. I'm begging you, someone in the comments, please. Like, you know what he did? A one-stop strategy in Spa the other day. Respect to him. Didn't lose his fucking tires.
All right.
Didn't fucking wasn't munching on Ozempic when he was in the car. He came in overweight and it was fine. I understand Fernando Alonso is a good driver, but
Right.
to have him as the anyway. Number 3, also on 90, Lando Norris. Which I can understand.
Okay.
Also on 90, and 4th in this line of people, Lewis Hamilton. What are we doing here?
What is happening? They've all had very different seasons. Like very different. Even if you said like this is like 4 races ago, even 4 races ago, there was not 4 people tied, or however many people tied for second place. So I don't get these at all.
They've put Carlos Sainz second, higher than Charles Leclerc,
who has won a race.
Yeah, and that on 89. And to be fair, Carlos Sainz has won as well. So
did he win this year?
Yeah, he had his little appendicitis victory.
Oh yes,
in Australia.
yes. Okay.
Bless him.
Right.
Other notable things here: Daniel Ricciardo is rated higher than Yuki Tsunoda.
Vibes.
Do you know what's killing me about these ratings? The disrespect on Logan Sargent. Logan Sargent. Logan Sargent is on 69. The next person after him is Joe on 80.
That's messed up. Go on now.
How do you feel about that, American Tasha?
Yeah, America. Oh, you're talking to me. I thought you were talking to somebody else. Yeah, they couldn't give him a 70. Like,
Even
he's
like
been doing all right.
Yeah, give him
All right,
70.
like a little 70, a little 73, maybe. Like, he's out qualified,
right.
Checo Perez multiple times this season.
Yeah.
He has finished a lot of races. Like, just finish them. That's been good for it. I feel like we could bump it up a little bit.
Oscar Piastri is on the same amount of ratings as Pierre Gasly.
That's crazy. That's disrespectful.
That is disrespectful to Oscar and his mother with a BlackBerry phone. Like, come on, man. I guess wider settings. I haven't spoken to you since the Hungary victory.
Yeah.
I do recall us sitting on the qualifying show and kind of saying, I think, did you predict a win? I can't remember, but you were very bullish on Lewis Hamilton's chances in the race, as always. He's won again. He's the only pardon me, my voice. It's too much content. I need some honey, lemon, ginger tea.
Some throat coat.
Right? Oh, what did someone say in the comments? This is when I had the other mic. And
are they bullying you again?
They bullied me. They're like, you need to turn, they're like, you need to sort out the settings on your mic. You don't exactly have a voice like Frank Sinatra. I said, oh my God.
Oh, no.
No, I'm not like old Blue Eyes. I'm sorry.
Damn.
Yeah, obviously Lewis is the only person to have won 2 races this season, along with to have won more than 1 race. The other person, obviously, being Max Verstappen. Sorry, Spa. I said Hungary. Spa was the last race. He's won that. He's driving better than he's ever driven. I guess, EA Sports don't seem to have respected him that much, and they've put him in this grouping of drivers. To have Lewis Hamilton in the same grouping as Carlos Sainz Jr. is so disrespectful. I can't. And Lando Norris. I cannot even describe it.
And Fernando Alonso, because what are we talking about?
You know what?
What are we talking about?
Wake that up. They'll piss me off.
Like, what did he even do this season at all to be a 90? You know what I mean?
I don't know. You tell me.
Where's Lance? He's at 80 on the bottom row. Yeah, he could be down there. Lance has been whooping his ass this season. So, yeah.
Anyway, but let's talk about some
stuff around. Yeah,
let's talk about some real drivers and them bums. Respectfully, Lewis, I guess in your eyes, how well is Lewis driving at the moment, and how happy are you with I guess how the half season ended?
On a high. It's been, granted, the race did not end on a high. We had to wait for the result that we wanted to see. But I feel like just since that email was sent, I'm not trying to bring up bullshit, but there was some vibe shift, and it's been interesting that all of the narrative about Lewis, how he's washed and, he will never win a race again. And, he's just not him anymore. He's going to fall to the wayside of Formula One history. It's just been interesting in the past, 3-4 races, how he's completely turned that narrative around. So, but the real ones never stop believing. That's why I'm always on your show. I'm always on this show saying how much I believe that Lewis Hamilton, if anybody can do it, it's him. It's not like I'm pulling that shit out of my ass. I'm saying it because it's him. He had no business winning Spa, out of nowhere. He just what? That was a race for Checo Perez to show up finally. That was a race for Lando Norris to show up finally. And neither of them did. So, yeah, Lewis had to do what Lewis does. And, yeah, he won that race. So, for me, it's been nice to see the turnaround happen so early, because normally I feel like when Lewis has these off seasons, it's always past the summer break where we start to see things kind of reverse Uno card. So it's been nice to go into the break with this energy. It's been nice to go into the break knowing where he's going to be next season. So I don't feel stressed. That's why I'm enjoying the Olympics. I'm not stressed. I know where my driver's going to be next season. He's doing great this season. He's beating everybody. So yeah, it's been, I don't know. It's been fun to see the turnaround, and I'm glad that we're seeing more positive results happening for him, because he's been in the trenches for a hot minute. So yeah.
He's been in the trenches for a minute. Yeah, he has been in the trenches for a minute. And no, it's been incredible to see him kind of pull through. And I think I think that's the thing. I think sometimes I wish people wouldn't let their hate for Lewis, the person, or let their hate for Lewis, the sportsman who's beat their faves or whatever, or even let their hatred of Lewis's fans. I always find that really hypocritical coming from certain fan bases.
Every other fan base.
Every other fan base. Because it's why you hate Lewis Hamilton fans, fair, but do you hate certain other fans who are whatever. Sport is about passion, and people should be able to be passionate about sport, and every subsect of fans are different in their own way and whatever.
Right.
But I wouldn't let your hate, I think people let their hate of Lewis Hamilton cloud their judgment of him as a driver. And I think at the end of the day, this whole fastest car argument is falling apart in front of certain people's eyes, because lo and behold, you do need a quick car in Formula One. This is not athletics. They're not running. They're driving a car.
Say the Flintstones. They're not down there petting their feet.
Velma! No, that is the fucking... That's Scooby-Doo.
Wilma.
No, and look, I'm just going to say, Wilma's pretty bad, respectfully.
Put it on your Tumblr. We're done. Animated milk. Oh, no.
I'm just saying. Fred, I hear it.
Right.
So, not the Tumblr. So I don't know. I just feel like I think people let their hate for Lewis cloud their judgment of him as a driver. And no matter if he has had a fast car or not, how many drives has this guy produced from GP2 to 2024? How many drives has this guy produced where he has pushed the limits of that car, sometimes beyond what the limits of the car are, sometimes from back to front? there's, go and watch Germany 2018 going from 14th to 1st. Go and watch the British Grand Prix in 2008, one of the best wet weather drives. Fuji in 2000, I want to say 2008, one of the best wet weather drives. Like the fact that they're even driving in that rain and he's managed to get through. Incredible. Personal favorites of mine, Monza 2018, I think is an incredible race in terms of pure speed running, like Kimi Raikkonen down. Hungary 2019. I'm all of these are quite recent ones. Obviously,
Playlist is extensive.
No, even Silverstone 2020. If you want drama, Brazil 21. Like how many iconic moments has this guy given the sport? And I just think, look, you can hate the man, but you cannot hating the driver. I think I can't trust your judgment if you hate the driver. I think, we all look. I can sit here and begrudgingly say that I respect Max Verstappen as a driver. Do I think he's better than Lewis? Not in this lifetime or the next. But do I think he's the second best driver on the grid? 100%. The fact that people on the other side can't do that, I think it shows that it's more than sporting reasons why you're saying that. And if that's the case, I can't respect what you're saying. Whatever those non-sporting reasons are, I'm sure we can all fill in the blanks there. But those are my thoughts on Lewis. Quickly, he actually did just remind me. Someone tweeted at us the other day about if F1 was in the Olympics. I feel like we should do like a draft of like if we can get like 16 countries. If we can get like 8 countries, right? We must be able to get 8 different countries with like drivers. Like we're doing like the quarterfinals, semifinals, final, like seeded. But I guess if that was the case, how do you think an F1 Olympics would work? Where would they rate? I guess if they were in France, it would be in Manicourt, or where's the French racetrack, the new one? Paul Ricard, with the weird off-piste kind of lines. How would you do it? I guess one-off race. Would you do like a one-off race? Would it be a sprint race? Would it be? Would you have like a stipulation?
I would do heats. I think I think heats would be kind of cool. Just like to separate everybody so that everybody's not racing at the same time.
Yeah.
Do like maybe 2-3 heats. I don't know. And have like have a final against maybe like 2 or 3. Because I don't know. I feel like I just want to see the whole like argument play out if it's just like 1v1.
Equal
what I mean?
As well.
Yeah.
Equal cars.
Like that's what it has to be, I think. So that would be my dream. Instead of doing a full GP, because we watch this every weekend. If it's the Olympics, I think the format has to be something kind of fun, something like unexpected. And then I do think we are like, there's at least several countries that are going to have to fight to figure out which team Lewis will be on. Like I know he's technically British, but he's also Brazilian. He is an American resident. You know what I'm saying? So I just think we're going to have to figure that out as well, because
quite why you would want to get rid of Logan Sargent, I don't know.
Like, do we even have another driver from America that could maybe like? I don't even
Formula
know.
One,
Man.
no, obviously, right. I'm sure there's like IndyCar and NASCAR that you could draw from, but unfortunately, this is if Formula One was in the Olympics.
So I'm just saying, can we just do like rock paper scissors for Lewis and see? You have plenty of British people. That you have Lando Norris, you have George Russell. You know what I'm saying?
I can't have those bottle jobs anywhere near. Like respectfully, you think Lando Norris can't even survive lap 1 on the 10th round of the Formula One season? You think if a gold medal's up for grabs, what is he going to do off the line? Like, come on, man. Like, respectfully,
right?
Respectfully.
Yeah,
but
right.
Yeah, no, we'll have to do rock paper scissors. Yeah. Look.
The IOC's going to have to get involved. It's going to be it's going to be a whole thing.
This person's an international. He's got more than one national identity. He can't be identified as British. He's identified as Brazil. Man, that shit is insane. What I want to say is actually, like, guys, read. You know what we said at the beginning thing? I don't know enough about this subject. I'm going to get other people who do know about that subject.
Yeah.
If you're watching this, if you're listening to this, I just want to encourage everyone to read around subjects before they say things. Because some of the things I've seen regarding this Algerian boxer here has been disgusting.
Vile.
Disgusting. And what's that phrase? A lie will travel halfway around the world before the truth has even put his shoes on.
Mm-hmm.
From the Italian compares tears and galvanizing this kind of wave of hatred against this person, to the false medical information put out about this person, to the complete demonization of this person, and it being then trundled onto, trans rights and trans people in sports, which is not an issue that should have been attached to this particular event. And at the heart of it, it's a woman who's just trying to realize her Olympic dream. And I just feel, I don't know. I just want, don't take everything at face value. Read up on things first. My whole thing is I won't comment on something until I've read up on it a bit more.
Yeah.
Hence why I couldn't even talk about the break bias shit. I was like,
break biases. I don't know. Track but yeah, I agree. The fact, especially in this day and age, I think media literacy and all that stuff is so important now, because we are in a huge misinformation, disinformation era, especially if you're getting information off of X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Even websites you think are reputable, can be fake. So it's a whole lot of misinformation. And you also got to think about the sources of where things are coming from. Somebody claiming that a woman is a man, what would be the motives behind that? Because I've seen a lot of really interesting narrative or, information come out even about that. So it's don't take everything at face value. And definitely for me, this whole situation I just feel I don't know, it's just been vile to watch it, seeing people with huge platforms. Joanne Rowling, wherever you are, hope the worst for you.
Joanne,
you motherfucker.
Yeah, no.
She's been on one for a long time, but I hate this whole thing. But it's especially when it comes to talking about trans women and just biological women, whatever. It hurts all of us, because the second that somebody can be she doesn't present feminine enough, she's a man, that's all it takes. And then look, there's been millions of people who have called her a cheater, called her out her name, called her, comparing her to animals, comparing her to whatever. It's just nasty and sickening. So, but it hurts all of us, same way that racism hurts all of us, right? It may be directed at Black people, but eventually it will hurt everybody, because the same lies and disinformation that is used to hurt Black people or people of color will eventually be used to hurt other groups as well. So that's all I have to say about that. I think more people need to get slapped, personally. Because that's my problem. I just think the problem with the world now is that not enough people have been slapped in the mouth. So,
oh, mate.
We wouldn't be arguing on Twitter if I could just,
The thing is, as well, even if you just said, Tandy the other day, I'd said to Tandy, I was like, I'm not going to argue with trolls anymore, because, I think it got to a point last season where I was doing it too much. But now I know that's because I was an alcoholic. So, so this season I've kind of dumbed it down a bit. But then sometimes someone will say something that's incredibly rude, or incredibly sometimes racist, sometimes, and I'll say something back, and they're just not used to receiving that energy back. And then I'm like, oh, how could you talk to me like that? I was like, well, you've just called me out of my name, bro. Of course I'm going to say something back. I think the cloak of anonymity has really allowed, and I think that is, we're seeing it in every area of society. I always say as well, I see in F1 Twitter. F1 Twitter is like a microcosm of society, and I think, you've got Homelander and his fans over there on the right. You've got Lewis Hamilton on the left. And I guess to tie this point into what I was saying before, you know, just because you might not agree with someone's politics, or you might not agree with someone's beliefs, or you might not agree with someone's way of living, it doesn't mean that you have to then disrespect them as a result. And I think there's far too much disrespect placed on, and especially like disrespect from people placed on, like, you know, placed on sports people of color, placed on people of color, and like everywhere, placed on women, placed on, you know, the LGBTQ plus community. And I feel like this anonymity that people have, it just makes it worse and worse and worse. And like you say, the lack of media literacy everywhere, the complete lack of people like checking sources, like and I just think the group thing that people are just, I think people are willing to be swept up in these things because it makes them feel, you know, maybe like they're part of something. And I think I can go into this all day, but I think like that's another thing. Like people are dying to be persecuted when they're not being persecuted.
I want to be oppressed so bad.
Let me tell you now, feeling oppressed
so damn
is
bad.
not fun. It's a ball ache.
Like what?
Like, you don't want this. I promise you. You don't want to be actually oppressed. You don't actually want to have your life dictated and made worse by fucking, you know, by racism, by sexism, by any kind of like transgression on how you live and believe your life. And anyway, I don't know. I just felt really sad seeing all of that shit. And I guess
I did too.
We don't really have anywhere else to talk about it. So I hope, you know, there's probably people who are like, where's the Formula One coverage? I didn't even talk about the brake bias. I'm like, sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, unfortunately, we do know more about racism than brake bias. Yeah. We know about real, you know, racial bias versus brake bias.
Racial bias. Yeah. There's no technical regulations for that.
I know all about that.
Yeah, we need to get a technical directive now on this racism shit. Where's the FIA? Sleeping on the job as usual. Well, look, let's leave it there. That was nice. I enjoyed that part. Thank you, Tasha, for being an incredible co-host as always.
Thank you for having me.
We will see. Well, Tasha will see you next week. We'll try and get someone to explain this technical shit because obviously, like we failed at it today.
Yeah.
Pardon me. I will see you. We'll be putting out content of some sort every day for the foreseeable. That's the plan. Let us know if there's anything that you'd like to see in particular. Let us know if there's any like podcasts or guests that you'd like us to invite on. Use sense, you know. Don't send me people with millions of followers and subscribers. Okay, use sense. But anything that you guys would like from us, let us know. I think hopefully this week at some point I'm going to start live streaming. That's going to be fun. I think me and Tasha were saying that we're going to start live streaming straight after quali. Unfortunately, I am at Carnival.
Oh.
Are you
going to dance this time?
I'm scared, man. I'm shy.
Scared of what?
I'm shy. I'm so shy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm so shy.
I'm just a boy.
Just a baby boy. My baby pink hat. I'm shy. Like, you know what? Carnival for me has always just been like, I go with my mates. I love the food. I love the music. Like, I've never been like a wine and a girl person. Like, I just find it.
Come on.
I find it, you know.
Just one.
Just one. Just little one.
You got the zest for life now, you know? Like, come on now. Go catch a wine at Carnival. Come on now.
Okay. Maybe I'll pick up a little wine. You know, Vibes Cartel is out, so maybe just one little one. Join.
For him,
if Bicycle comes on, then maybe I'll have like, hey, you know what I'm wearing, yeah. Anyway, you don't need me to be singing Vibes Cartel to you. I won't be here for that show, but we'll definitely try and do it for more. Monza, again, that one's iffy because it's my birthday. It's my birthday. So
Virgo season.
But yeah, no, for sure. We're going to try and set it up. But like, let us know any ideas that you want. Thank you for listening. Make sure to give this video a like and a subscribe. If you're on Spotify, give us a 5-star rating. Apple, give us a fucking review, please. I'm sorry for swearing. We got a comment. I was like, you got to stop swearing as much. And I'm sorry. I've got a potty mouth. I've got a dirty mouth. And obviously the patrons there for ad-free streaming. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you when we see you. Remember, no matter what life throws at you, keep it on the black stuff. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. Look, mate, if you've got this far, clearly you like what we do. So here's a link to subscribe to the Quick Stop F1 family. Give that a click. And here's another link to some more cool on our channel. Sorry, cool stuff. And remember, no matter what happens, keep it on the black stuff. Click the stuff. Click the links. Click the links. Click the links. There. They're there.